Still haven't worked that out.
Oh, we're just going in. All right. Hi.
All right. Welcome. We're here. All right. Welcome live. This is a special Let's Talk 10 Forward Roundtable. And today we are going to discuss, or these lovely ladies are going to be discussing, the women of Star Trek. I have with me today an awesome panel. I've worked with all three of them at least once, and then of course I'm married to one of them, so I have to say plenty of good.
Everyone in the chat, please decide which one he's married to.
Yeah, y'all decide.
There is a big hint, you know.
Yeah,
there's a small hint in there.
Hint, nudge, nudge, wink,
So,
wink.
hello, Doctor. Great to see you. Okay, ladies, I am so glad we were able to put this together. We're going to talk to women of Star Trek. I want to introduce the panelists here. First off, to my bottom, we have Heiress of Chaos.
Hello.
Say hello.
What's up?
It's great to have you here. We also have on the top right and bottom right, we have the rise of the Valkyries. We have Samantha Jo and Purple Valkyrie.
Hello.
Ladies, it is great to see you.
Thank you for having us. Good morning.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's great to be here. Thank you, Jesse.
Oh, it's great to have you. And of course, last but certainly not least, if you didn't figure it out, Madam Geek is the one I'm married to. Just in case the names weren't a give-off. So, ladies, this being said, we have a wide gambit of strong women that were seen from Star Trek 66 to 05. We can go all the way back to the Cave with the very first officer being Majel Barrett, a woman. That being said, this is all you ladies. I'm going to mute myself, close this off, and I'm going to let you all talk to women of Star Trek.
All right.
Wait, so like the mighty, stunning, and brave Michael Burnham doesn't count? We're not allowed to discuss her? God herself is not allowed to be discussed? All right, fair enough.
She's a corks bar. That's a corks bar. That's a corks bar talk there. I got some.
Okay, so that's bar room. Okay, I got it.
All
Excellent.
right. We will need to have some kind of influence to be under some kind of influence to discuss that. So
yeah, clearly, yeah, that's bar room talk for sure.
Yep. All right.
We've had strong women since 66, since the original show. Good morning, Loki.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hey, Loki.
And Darth Hester, thanks for popping in, hon. But yeah, Majel Barrett. Kapla, bird.
See, I've seen that episode like one time.
Menagerie?
I'm sorry, I got really distracted. Why? Why, spider? Why? There's a spider in all my blinds. I'm going to ignore it.
Focus.
Best, but if I start looking over here, it's like 2 feet away from me, and anyone who knows me knows I have like arachnophobia really bad. So,
oh dear.
Yeah, that's just about right with the rest of my damn day. That's about right. That would happen.
Caffeine stat.
I got 2 streams, and there's a go away, pay rent or go away. All right, anyway, continue. I'm sorry. We've already gotten off track.
How do we want to do this? Well, how do we want to talk about the actresses that play female characters, or we want to talk about the female characters in Star Trek? How do we want to go about doing this?
We could mix a little bit of both.
Yeah, we can.
Uhura's strength comes from not just her character, but the actress, and the story behind her even staying on as Uhura. So like there's a little bit of both in that, but I just go.
But same with Majel. I mean, Majel was pretty much there because of Jean, but he put her there for a reason. You know, to be that woman on the bridge.
Yeah,
and there were other women as well, but to be that number one, you know, that was a pretty big deal.
The same could be said for Grace Lee Whitney. Rand. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Yeoman Rand. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about her. She had the crochet, like not
the
crochet,
weave in her hair.
weave basket.
The basket weave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't figure out because I guess I was just oblivious to it. I didn't realize that was a wig. I thought someone actually went in and I was like, how did they do it?
Actually folded her hair into the...
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't think about extensions. I didn't think about wigs. I was just like, man, she has some kick-ass hair.
I know, right? You know, I have endeavored for years to try to figure that out, but that's the hairdresser in me that does that. So
it's like a puzzle. It's like, I don't even know how this happened. Like, but okay.
I don't know either, still to this day, but where's my spider mask? Oh my God, if you have one, holy hell. But when it came to women, you know, Gene saw the future with that, I think, because he did have these women in positions of power straight off the bat. It was never a question. It was never a concern. It was never an issue. Just women were there. At least that was my take on it. Now, this is coming at a person who didn't start seeing Star Trek until 10 years after it originally aired. Because I was 6. You know, so I was watching it, you know, in syndication when I was wee. And it didn't even occur to me until I got older that, yeah, we have men on the bridge. Sure, there's a male captain, fine. But there's Uhura, there's Nurse Chapel, there's all these, and Grace Lee Whitley's character, Yeoman Rand, peppered throughout the show that are like, hey, girls can do shit too.
Yeah.
Amazeballs.
That was a big takeaway from watching it. That they were equal to their male colleagues. You know, there wasn't any, you know, they weren't lower, they weren't in lesser positions.
Yeah.
They were on the bridge, they were in working with McCoy. They had important roles to play.
Yeah.
And they weren't talked down to as characters either.
No, they were all equals. Every single person on that bridge was looked at as an equal. Didn't matter their rank.
You're freaking out over that spider right now.
It's coming towards me, okay?
Throw something at it, not the laptop.
It's right there. Shoe. Okay, no, you don't understand. My window is literally here. Like, that's my...
Poor Madam Geek is just like, oh my God.
It is. And it's like rubbing its little, like, whatever. And it's like, yeah, coming to get ya. And it's just like, I'm not appreciating it. So... Shut up.
Oh, hell.
Go ahead.
Hi, guys. Yeah.
I said, I'm listening. It's just, you know, I might be staring at it to make it go away because I think that's going to make it go away for some reason. Just keep going. Go.
You should see the spiders they have in the desert. When I was in Afghanistan, there was one that's probably as big as those things you see in Alien.
Oh!
Yeah, a facehugger?
Yeah, they're huge.
Oh, God.
No.
Sweetheart, why did you tell me that?
Freaking no. Kill it with fire. No.
See, okay, this is why I believe. Just give us more bats. They do the same thing as spiders, and they're cooler.
Yeah, they actually took a picture of it and posted it around the hospital I worked at. And I was like, "Well, I'm glad I wasn't the one that found the spider, because I've been like, oh my God, get away."
No.
No, I don't handle them well. So yeah, we're just I'm gonna have to bear with this, and I'm sorry if I distract y'all from staring at Cal. I was
like freaking. Where the hell is he? Hey, Serum.
Anyway, continue on.
So I was doing some research on this topic today because I asked my husband.
Okay.
So what are we doing here? What are we talking about? What's our goal? What are our talking points? I need to have structure. I did do some homework and I did do some research and.
Okay.
So we're going to go back to the original Star Trek series for a moment and talk about Nichols, who was Aurora, who was a comm officer. And I think it's very interesting that for the time period that series was filmed, that they had an African-American woman playing a very important role in the series, a communications officer. And that's very interesting. Because even today, like, we need more of this type of people. We need more of this race, more of this gender. And they were already doing that back when they first started this series. They had women, they had African-American women in strong roles.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And Uhura as a character, she was very, very capable of holding her own against pretty much any situation.
Very much so.
I think probably Mirror Mirror showed her in her best light, where she has to kind of take on and she has to divert, and she has to manipulate, and she has to deal with Sulu, and she does this for the benefit of the crew. And
if you didn't know, she had the first interracial kiss with Captain Kirk.
Yes.
So,
that was a big deal.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
So,
for Jean to have given that role to her, my gosh, considering the era at the time, it was incredible. I hear an ice cream truck.
Yeah.
All right, who brought
Right on
Mexican Iron
schedule.
Man to the party?
Nobody invited a Mexican Iron Man. He's screwed up the ratio. And even so, with that, we could go into Guinan at that point, where the influence of Whoopi Goldberg.
Yes.
She influenced Whoopi Goldberg to contact Jean. And yeah, thank you, boss. Whoopi Goldberg said she ran to her mom and said, "Mama, there's a black woman on TV and she ain't no maid." Yeah.
Well, also something else about, wow, I just blanked out about her actress name, please.
Nichelle Nichols.
Nichelle Nichols, right. Okay. So, and I was reminded, funnily enough, it was on my timeline yesterday on Twitter as like a promotion, like a promoted tweet.
Yeah.
Which it was like the first like interesting promoted tweet I've seen in like the year I've been on Twitter. And it was actually talking about Nichelle Nichols. And that, and I'd forgotten about this. But she almost quit Star Trek. And someone, a very important someone, told her that he really liked what she was doing, and that what she was doing was very important, and that person was MLK.
Yeah.
So that's huge.
Yeah, she got a phone call from Martin Luther King.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh my gods. If that's not enough to move you to continue your work,
right,
I don't know what is. That was outstanding.
Very true.
And then, we have that influence fed directly to another character in another part of the series of Whoopi's character, Guinan. So it was like, oh my gosh, that in and of itself is influence. And then, women in positions of power to where they're equal to their counterpart.
Yeah, just because
and respected.
Yeah, somebody was like, you know what? It's like, I want to, I'm going to make this the utopia.
Yeah.
That's what Star Trek is. So you hear this, oh, Star Trek is sexist, and it's just like,
no.
Have you read a damn thing about Star Trek? Have you watched it? Because it's hard to be sexist when you have women in the cast and in equal roles of power. Like, Uhura could be the captain if people, she's in that line of command. She has a high-ranking position.
Yeah.
She's on the bridge. That's not just something that, anyone's thrown
That's
up
a big
on there.
deal.
That's like, you are on the bridge, like as a permanent position. You have a very high ranking, which means that if in the line, in the chain of command, if enough people are up, she was going to be able to be captain.
Yeah.
She's in charge of the entire ship. She was trusted with that, and she knew that.
Yeah.
And she has done, hell, like, she knows like every language, every dialect. Like, she's not just in power. She is well deserved and has earned that position, and is very intelligent.
I do have to give them credit for the 09 Star Trek that they did kind of elaborate a bit on Uhura's intelligence, because she was not just a token.
Oh yeah, I think Zoe Saldana actually played a really good Uhura.
I think so too.
I would imagine, I would imagine that Nichelle Nichols had a big impact on her also.
Wow, Derek had a female XO.
Cool.
Excellent. Oh, the Royal Navy. Excellent. Wow.
that really didn't take shit from anybody.
No.
Well,
Well, that was cool too, because in the original series we saw, the typical doctor-nurse relationship, male-female.
Chapel didn't take any shit either. You
No,
remember
she didn't
when,
take anybody's
when
garbage.
Spock started giving her some, nonsense when he was going through
The bonfire?
yes,
Yeah.
that thing.
Yeah.
I was not going to say that, but thank you for that. And sorry, no caffeine in this brain right now. Give me some credit.
Hey, you get grace, babe.
And yeah, she wouldn't take shit from anybody. Not even McCoy. And McCoy, I think that's the reason why she wasn't. Not just because she's a woman, but because McCoy needed someone. He would never admit this in his entire life. McCoy needed someone to make sure that didn't take shit from him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He needed that influence.
And something that doesn't get mentioned very often in the Star Trek motion picture, it is mentioned that Nurse Chapel eventually becomes Dr. Chapel.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
They don't mention it,
Because
but it's Dr. Chapel.
Saying, I need a nurse, not another doctor.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that line. Okay. I need to go. Guess what I'm going to be doing today? I'm going to be watching Star Trek: The Motion Picture to catch up.
And another good thing they did with the motion picture was, if you watching the movies and stuff, you'll realize Janice Rand, what was it? Grace Whitney, I think was her name.
Yeah, Grace Whitney.
She was let go. She was let go after the first season.
Yeah.
And she's never seen again until she is a chief. She's now no longer a yeoman. She is a chief transport operator in the very beginning. And then you see her slowly throughout the rest. And eventually we get her as literally the commander. I don't know if she was the XO, but I kind of took it as she was the XO of the Excelsior and basically Sulu's second in command.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was
I don't know if she was XO, but she was definitely the communications officer.
Yeah, she wasn't just a token either. Like she
was not a
rose
token.
through the ranks, and they showed that, which was, awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was badass to have her coming back in and out.
Here was someone that people had just kind of, written off a little bit as, she's a love interest for Kirk this season, know, and it's like, no, actually, she took her job very seriously, and now she's a commander. For Sulu's ship. So
yeah, and I'm like, wow,
that is something. Eric, you bring up a great point. The women on Star Trek took great pride in the work they did, and they shown to be competent and good at it.
Mm-hmm.
Extremely, yes, extremely competent.
Yeah.
I don't see how they couldn't be. I mean, they're written. See, this is the other thing too. We had such a tremendous writing staff that wrote these women. So these actresses.
Good writing?
I know. It's
unheard of. Perish the thought.
I know.
I guess all the good writers have passed away because we don't have that very often anymore.
No, we just have
DC Fontana just passed away a few months ago. So
earlier this year, I think. Earlier this year.
Yeah, I think so. And I think Grace Lee Whitley passed away.
Yeah,
last
DC
year as well.
Fontana, for all those who don't know, I'm pretty sure everyone does. That's a woman.
Yeah. That's a girl.
It's a woman. Oh my God.
But Darth Haster mentioned Counselor Troy and Dr. Crusher.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the hubbub around Star Trek The Next Generation. Not only was it a bald captain who's French with an English accent, but now we have a woman in charge of sickbay. And a woman who is basically tasked with being the only one on the ship who can relieve Captain Picard of duty. If medically necessary.
When I was a kid, I would watch The Next Generation with my dad. I think I said this before in another video. But Deanna Troi and Dr. Crusher were always my two favorites. I don't know if it's because they made an impression on me when I was little, but they were very good characters and they were strong women.
Yeah.
One provided guidance to the captain, and the other one, like you said, was the doctor of sickbay. So to
Mhm.
have those women in the 80s in those type of roles was a pretty big deal.
Yeah. I mean, I think Dr. Crusher's official title was Chief Medical Officer.
Yes.
So, yeah, she's a senior staff.
Yeah.
And now you have two women, like you said, Madam Geek, who one is the right hand of Captain Picard, essentially, when it comes to the advisory committee on the bridge, and the other who's in charge of basically the entire ship and their well-being.
Yes, and so both women provide the captain with different roles, but they're both strong women and competent at the same time.
Yeah.
Like you said, one is the emotional support, the other one is more common sense.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's very similar to, now that you're putting it that way, it's like that is kind of sort of similar to he was kind of they were kind of Picard's Spock and McCoy, Spock and Bones in a way.
Yeah.
Because Bones was very, we had the very hard, like, logical side from Spock, and then, Bones is very, like, emotional, passionate, and driven. And he needed those two sides because both of those sides are very, very important in human decision making. So if you want to go like straight down the middle, you want to have a little bit of emotion and some logic. You don't want to go too hard logic. You don't want to go too hard emotion, because you'll end up making the wrong call. So you want to go straight down the middle, and that's what they provided for him. So,
Bird says in the chat, he says, more than once Beverly took on Picard over his interpretation of the Prime Directive. Yeah, so that even falls into that same category.
Yeah, the Prime Directive was kind of...
that was more of a guideline.
It was a hard line that...
that wobbled. Yeah.
It wasn't broken really all the time, but it wasn't a couple times, just a little bit.
It got bent a bit. Yeah.
It's like a paperclip, right? And it's just like a line of wire, and then they started to, and now all you have is like a ball. It's not broken. It's just not that straight line anymore.
Yeah.
Since we're talking in Next Generation at the moment, what did you ladies think of Tasha Yar as a character?
I loved Tasha.
I've only gotten through a little bit of TNG, so you have to bear with me on that.
That's okay.
Spoiler alert!
I really liked her as a character, but she seems to be kind of underrated or not as popular.
Well, I think it was interesting that she was chief of security.
Yes. Another woman.
I remember this
We have
chick.
a woman
Okay.
in a very strong role, strong position where she's chief of security. And
Yes, you're right.
So
thanks, Madam Geek, for the reminder. I completely
I
forgot. Yeah.
Before we got on.
Thank you for doing your research, because I was like,
All right, I remember the face. I just looked it up. I remember
Short
the face.
blonde hair.
Right. Yeah, I got it now.
Cute blonde hair,
remember her. Okay, we're good. I don't remember anything about her character, but I don't know the face.
To put a plug here real quick, if you wanted to go to PensonPatron.com, there's a huge list of the female Star Trek characters, then and now. And it's a little brief synopsis of what they did in Star Trek and then what they did after Star Trek. And so yeah, I had to do some research because my husband, I want you to do this. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, well, where are we going? I'm like, so I did some research around 10 o'clock. I was like, okay, I need to know what I'm talking about and who I'm talking about if I'm going to do this.
Yeah. Well, Tasha, I have to agree with Mark. She never got the character development.
I do vaguely remember her being killed off.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, no, I do remember that. Wasn't that like at the beginning or something?
Yeah, it was like 6 episodes in, I think.
Yeah, she got killed off, and they do the funeral for her, and she has that holographic message or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we don't see her again until yesterday's Enterprise.
Yes, yeah, which kind of redeems her character and
very much so. I agree.
Her the death that she deserved rather than the one that she got right at the beginning.
So we're
that was just dreadful.
the women, and some strong roles. Kate Mcgrew, Captain Janeway, she was the first female captain on the series. So that's once again a very strong role. It's like even in today's military, we're seeing more women that are going up the ranks, being like chief of the Air Force or colonels and generals. So to even, this is a sci-fi series, but even in today's military structure, we're seeing more women climb those ladders.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Which is great to see, honestly. But I think they've given more. I say they as the military itself, the Department of Defense. They've given women more latitude in order to rise in the ranks,
right,
with their male counterparts. Now, you, of course, Madam Geek, have way more experience with that than I do.
Right.
Yep, same.
I'm out.
It's just a comparison.
Right.
I have worked with strong women in the military that I am very fortunate to see them climb the ranks, and they are well deserving to climb those ranks. And I have seen some too where they've climbed the ranks and it's all about themselves. They're out to see how far can they go, and they don't care who they trample along the way, unfortunately. So
it looks like men and women can be selfish.
Yes, and men are the same way. I worked with some great men who I'm glad they've made it up the rank, and they're sounding like, oh my God help me. So
I'm sure.
I think we see a lot of good stuff in Star Trek with the women. We always see that cutthroat. We see a lot of teamwork. The mission, what's the task at hand that they're going to do. And I think with TV back then and TV today is that each episode of Star Trek is a complete story, a complete from beginning to end.
Episodic, yeah.
Right. You don't have to worry about, okay, now I got to watch next week to see what happens with this. So you have a complete story. I think that's kind of going on a tangent here. I think that's what TV misses today is that you always have to watch the whole series to get the story. It's not just one little chapter.
Yeah.
The whole series.
Yeah.
I like
don't
both,
develop
depending
an
on the show. Honestly, I'd like a mix of both.
I have to agree too. A mixture would be good.
Pulaski.
They want to talk about Pulaski. I hated Dr. Pulaski.
Sorry, interrupted you, Purple. Go ahead.
That's okay.
No, just agreeing. I think the one thing that Star Trek actually did really well was having the episodic, and then occasionally you'll get like a two-parter.
Right.
Or the arcs that would travel through the entire season, like the Borg.
Like little bits and pieces. That's my favorite type of long series arc, is little bits and pieces, so that when you rewatch it, there's rewatchability. Where when you rewatch it, you pick up on things because they sprinkled it in so lightly and so subtly from like the very beginning. And it just go, and it's just you blink and you miss it, or you don't know what happened. So I love watching movies and TV shows that are like that. So yeah.
So what do we want to say about Pulaski?
I don't know who that is.
Ashley Eris hasn't gotten through season 1 yet of TNG.
No. I've gotten through. I'm not like halfway through.
Spoiler alert!
TNG. I've gone through halfway through TNG. It's just been so long. I've only seen it like one time, so I don't know, man. Like, let me look her up, and let me see.
I quite like Pulaski, but the one thing that always really irritated was how she treated Data.
Oh,
that was what stuck in my craw too.
Yeah,
I got her. Yeah, I vaguely remember her. She that was no. I didn't like that. That was disrespectful.
And that's one of my biggest pet peeves. I don't work well with women. I'll just say that I just don't. I like working with men. And for her to always talk down to Data, that's one of my biggest pet peeves is people who talk down to other people, even myself included. Yeah. I don't like being talked down to. And for her to always do that with Data, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's a good thing he was an android and not human. I think his emotions would have eventually gotten up with him.
Yeah. I just realized she was in TOS.
Yeah. 2 episodes.
Yeah, I was actually going to mention how that played out. I did some behind the scenes review on it, and the actress who played Pulaski, she was actually totally on board with it because she said she had a great time during the TOS. but she said she never really felt like she gelled or was comfortable with the TNG crew. And I did find out one of the reasons the woman who played Gates McFadden, the reason why she left is because she was having an issue with, I think, one of the writers.
Yeah.
And so they fired her. And Patrick Stewart never was happy about it and spent most of the second season trying to get, that resolved. So there was a lot of behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
She was never billed as anything other than a special guest.
Yes.
So it's kind of like she wasn't even given a chance to be part of the regular crew.
Yeah. And they kind of got a little cliquey with her because they didn't like the fact that Gates was gone. They wanted Gates back. And thank God that happened in season 3.
Yeah.
It's not fair
was a
to
better
punish
doctor.
somebody like that.
No, it's not fair to the actress. The character I actually quite liked, but as you say, the way she treated Data as an object was wrong. But if that was going on behind the scenes, that definitely wasn't fair to the actress herself.
No.
It probably impacted how her character interacted with things. Like, acting comes a lot from what I've gathered. I was taking an acting class, but like from watching, it's going to be way off topic, but in Doctor Who, when they bring on the Doctor, they kind of get to figure out who their Doctor is, like on a personal level. I mean, they've written out things, but they get to kind of figure out, and they get to, use themselves and figure out who they want to be as the Doctor. And so every single Doctor has their own, the actor's personal twist on it, which probably explains why 13 sucks so bad. So, because you have to have a personality in order to play the Doctor. So if that was going on behind the scenes, that probably heavily affected the acting of her character, and if she was kind of like, you're not welcome here, well, we miss this other person, it's like, well, I mean, then going to probably not, the chemistry is not going to be there in order to make these characters really gel with each other. So.
And you never really saw, I think Madam Geek pointed out, and Purple Valkyrie, they never gelled. That cast with Diana Muldaur, they never gelled well. And had they had more time to develop her character, I think she could have been better. But
I agree, Crusher was awful in season 1.
Oh, she was terrible.
I was just like, oh.
Ugh. But once they brought her back, though, once they brought Gates back in season 3, bam! Whoever was writing for her starting then was nailing it.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden there's this, she went away to Starfleet Medical to teach or whatever she was doing. Fine. But she came back and she was a completely different Doctor. Yeah,
that fits, actually. People go out, they do something else, and they come back and they've changed.
Yeah, I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good, solid way to give that character development. And an explanation for the jump in character was, maybe this was who she was, and because she what was it? She was Jack Crusher's wife. I agree with Mark.
Getting in the way on the bridge,
Yeah,
that
I personally didn't like Wesley.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid, I had a crush on Wesley.
Aww.
Yeah, I sure did.
His eyelashes were insane. No mascara. That guy has better eyelashes than most of the female gender just itself. I was just like, and then you look at him now, and you're just like, oh.
Yikes.
What happened, dude?
Yeah. Pretty geek. He's good.
Life hit him with a brick wall. Puberty is usually when people, come into who they're supposed to be and become, generally like better looking. He went the opposite way. So it was just like,
dude, burn.
Oof, I'm sorry, my man.
It's like, oh, sorry, dude. It's all right.
Should have just drank the fountain of youth and kept it,
Right. Yeah, but once they brought Beverly back, it was a completely a completely new character, and it was so great to see. And then I'm going to go back to the TOS for a second. We had a woman, a female Romulan commander of a whole squadron. And it was like, oh my God, this is cool. Not only is she an alien, but she's a she that garners a crap ton of respect from the officers that serve under her. I was like, bonus. It's relatively easy to write an action hero. An intellectual one, not so much. Have to agree.
Just intellectually writing in general is apparently way more difficult than I thought it was supposed to be.
Well, when you mentioned that episode there, when you talk about this Romulan commander, I mean, she's the antagonist and Spock is literally the protagonist. And they've really had great on-screen chemistry between each other. And
they did.
You know, Spock was able to play it up really well.
Yeah.
And, you know, that is a great chemistry between those two. But as I always say, you can't have a good protagonist without a good antagonist. You got to want to have a reason. The antagonist has to have something of value. Whether you agree with them or not, the point is there has to be a value to that character. Otherwise, and I'm going to throw this as a little off topic here, but I did watch that show, The Old Guard. And they gave us the most stereotypical one-note, your typical greedy capitalist pharmacy guy is like, oh my God. Yeah. And they made the guy so easily hateable. You're like, there's nothing about this character that's even worth.
Yeah.
And it was
there's nothing great about this character.
No, but I mean, when you had the interaction between the cast, the guard, they were great. I literally was loving it. The action was great. The story was generally good, but it was all unfortunately shafted with this one note, one dimension. This guy might as well have been Steppenwolf for all I care. That's how one dimensional he was.
No, Steppenwolf was half a dimension, maybe, if he was lucky.
So I
didn't even think of CGI.
But yeah, when you bring up the Romulan commander, back then you got a female commander of the Romulan fleet. And guess what? As kids, none of us gave it a single thought.
No.
No. Isn't it annoying that we focused on that now? And even though like we don't care, we still see it. You know, it's like like we didn't care. We didn't see it. And now that's old Hollywood likes to focus on. That's all we see now. And it's just like, I hate that.
I'm getting to the point with Hollywood that I don't care who plays the character, male, female, as long as they're a good actor and they can portray the character they're portraying. That's where I'm at right now. If you can act, that's all I care about. I don't care if you're a boy or a girl. I don't care.
Yeah. Well written.
That's what we need to get back to.
Something, and I was researching this earlier this morning. I wanted some big name actresses that got their start with Star Trek in some way was Whoopi Goldberg, Christy Alley, Terry Hatcher, and Ashley Judd. Some of the big ones.
Thank you for doing your research, Madam Geek. Because if it weren't for you, I'd be duh.
Well, like I said, I asked my husband, it's like, where are we going? He's like, well, that's a few lanes to the side. I'm like, well, thanks. That's not big.
Well, you did it. Yay.
So we were talking about strong women in Star Trek, right? So Christy Alley played a Vulcan in Star Trek, in the movie Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. She played a Vulcan. And she actually was, I think, the commander. I'd have to look that back up. But that was very interesting to me. So, a strong female character in a position of power.
Yeah. So. I think she was going for her commander because she was a lieutenant. And she was taking the Kobayashi Maru. If I remember in the beginning, it's Saavik. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I had to look it up.
You know, one of the things that is another side note, I just add this one. When they did Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, they were actually going to use that character played by Christy Alley and then played by two separate characters, by another woman in The Search for Spock and the Voyage
Robin
Home.
Curtis.
They were supposed to bring her back, and she was supposed to be the antagonist trying to, help the Romulan or help the Klingon.
Cool.
And
Yeah, that would have been cool.
But ultimately, the reason why they did it, they didn't use her. They used a different character. They said the character was just too well liked by people that they felt it would be a disservice to the character.
Well, they would have written it in a way. You can have a character that you adore, and start hating them, and that's a huge emotional, that's a journey all by itself.
Right.
Yeah.
I almost wish they would have, actually gone through with that, because that would have been great. I mean, because I hated that girl in 6. I was just like, what are you doing?
Oh yeah, Valaris.
Yes, I was like, and if you would have had a character that I would have liked, done that, and you would already have had all this character development, so you didn't need to further, because I didn't think she was as developed as I wanted her to be.
Right.
So you already had half of your job done already, and then and then to find out, because you're never going to see that coming, and then to find out that a little bit more, just a smidgen backstory of why she did this, and that she wasn't always like that. That something happened. Maybe make the movie more centered around her, and you could have had almost kind of in those movies, which are kind of connected, or they're all kind of connected in and of itself, but then you really could have connected it and seen this character, this movie, that because I think people forget about that. If the movies are connected, if you sit down and watch them, it's you can watch them one at a time, but there's things in them that have happened in different in previous movies.
Yeah.
So that would have, I think that would have done. Oh man, I really wish it. God. I really
man.
Oh, that's so frustrating, because that would have been, God, that would blow my damn mind, and I might not have Wrath of Khan as my favorite. 6 might have been my favorite had that have happened.
Right.
I think to be worried about that backlash. It's no, do it. Oh,
Do
it's
it.
So cool. God damn it. That's so frustrating to hear that kind of stuff, where it's we could have had this potential of this.
I know who we should talk about next.
Who?
Margelle Barrett Roddenberry.
Ah, yeah.
We should talk about her.
She is the mother of all Star Trek.
Yes, we should discuss her for a moment.
Yeah, because I personally have a crap ton of respect for Majel. I really do. I adore her. She is indeed the mother of Star Trek.
So
Honest to God.
If you ladies don't mind, I'm going to read this little snippet here that's on this webpage. It says, she was thought of as the first lady of Star Trek due to the fact that she starred in 3 of the series, and also was married to the creator, Gene. In the original series, she played Nurse Christine Chapel in a Star Trek Next Generation, and Star Trek Deep Space Nine, she played Lwaxana Troy. So for those who are in the chat, or those who are listening and didn't know, that was Gene's wife.
Well, you just surprised Eris of Chaos. She's like, wait, what?
I was like, Troy.
Yes.
Oh, that's the mom.
She's Counselor Troy's mother. Yeah.
I loved her. She was so just
Now, to bring us back down from that high, she did pass away, unfortunately, at the age of 76 from leukemia.
Yeah.
Well, she lived a long, good life and has a legacy.
Yeah, I think we do need to discuss her just for a second. So yeah, I loved her as Lwaxana Troy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, she was
awesome.
so over the top and so just I'm like, yes, I love this character, but we also got to see her be weak.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
In
Weak
that
does
time,
not make it bad. It's not bad to have any character have a weak moment. And it's not just the women who have weak moments. Every character loves it when a hero gets knocked down and then comes back up. Right, that is a favorite trope. I can't imagine anyone hating seeing a character have to get back up stronger than ever. That is a universally beloved human journey. So, just as a point, just because she's a woman doesn't mean anything in that circumstance. Continue. Sorry.
NB Geek mentions it. Jesse, he mentions it. Kirsten Dunst was in that episode where we did see Lwaxana at a very, very fragile point to remember the death of her oldest child. And I was so blown away by that episode. It's one of my favorites, to be honest. To where she's got to rely on her daughter to go save her.
Right.
And bring her back from that brink. And it was refreshing. Hey, Joseph. It was refreshing to see a woman like Lwaxana, who is so respected and so over the top and so boisterous and so powerful, be weak and need help from somebody else. It was amazing episode.
Psycho Dwarf 9 is on the same page I was with this when it came to Lwaxana in DS9 and her.
Oh, yeah, on the elevator, yeah.
And her interactions with Odo were just so. Odo doesn't know what to make of her. She is so over the top, so affectionate, and he strangely enough gets comfortable with her. And then when she does that thing at the very end of the episode where he's like, he's going through his changing process and stuff, and she's just sitting there. She's trying to listen, and finally, he's like, nobody's ever seen me like, and then she's like, Odo, turn around and look at me. And she pulls her wig off, and she's like, nobody's ever seen me like this. And he's like, why? You look fine. Because it's ordinary, and I've never been one for ordinary. And it's a beautiful moment where she's showing something of herself to a man she barely knows, but in the short time they're together, she really can relate to him.
Yeah. They have that moment where it's like, click.
It's almost as if when you're writing something and you're doing it well, you don't need like entire seasons to develop a character.
I know. Who knew? Darth Haster, her first film was Interview with the Vampire. That was done. Claudia was done right before she did Star Trek.
I mean, hell, we have 2 seasons of STD, and Michael Burnham has yet to budge. So
yep.
Not a single step on a journey of character development. So
not one single step, not even a toe.
In like a scene or like a couple scenes, a character Lwaxana was able to have like this huge like thing with what is it, Odo? I haven't seen it, so I'm just going by what y'all said. But in a couple scenes, with well written dialogue, well casted people, and whole arc happened.
But on the other hand, I also like the interaction that she had with Picard as well.
Oh God!
Oh yeah,
to see the look of panic on his face. It's my
Picard's
mother.
Very
cool, shit!
Very just like chill and whatever, and then he's just like, oh no, oh God,
I'll be in the holodeck
under your desk, under the bridge console.
Jean-Luc, darling. Oh God, run.
Oh, deck. Seal it off.
And even Riker to an extent, because he had known her obviously from the past, and she's just like, William. He's like, ma'am. Oh shit. Lwaxana's here.
I love that there's like this whole like all these people who've seen her before and interacted with her before, and they're just like, oh no, okay, kind of walk away. And then people who had never met her before were like, oh, I gotcha.
Her interactions with Worf were epic classic. Mr. Wolf, it's Worf, madam. Just so deadpan, and he's just like, oh God, fine.
You have a whole protocol for when she comes on board. It's like a whole separate alert system. That might yellow and red alert. Like, no, it's
But Majel threw everything at that character of Lwaxana Troi, and it stuck. She was fantastic. but we'll
believe that was
always
Jean's wife.
have her.
Amazing.
What?
That was Jean's wife. That's amazing. That just made me love her more.
Well, think about this too. Let's look at the different characters she played throughout her time. She played the very first officer, canonically, as a very straightforward, no nonsense kind of leader. I would have loved to have seen more of her in that
Me
role.
too.
Mhm.
And then
Oh,
she
you
did a
are.
complete.
You're just gonna get it on, modern day Star Trek.
Yeah, okay.
He's like, all right, I don't know where to go with this, but okay.
All right, go ahead.
But,
Yeah, go ahead.
And then she did. She changed her hair color. She became Nurse Chapel, and Gene Roddenberry didn't even recognize her at first because
Wait,
he was
no.
concerned about. Yeah, he was concerned about putting her on the show. Well, here's the thing: because the screening of her was very disliked by women. It was the women who were screening it who did not like how her
Really?
character was being portrayed. I'm not joking. It was the women who had a problem with it. And Mark the Infinitely Tired, hey, coming in. And yeah.
Oh,
And
no.
then she changed her hair color and changed her everything. And Gene didn't even recognize her. She goes, "Well, if I can fool you, Gene, I think I can fool the casting." So
Yeah, I
she
think he even
trades
hit on her.
that she
But,
changes her character so much into a totally new character. And then she plays a completely different character again in TNG and DS9 as Loxana Troy. And then we got to remember she was the ship's computer for everything.
Sorry,
Yes.
my mind just got blown. I didn't realize she played. So I knew her, and I didn't click that was his wife. And so now I'm like, oh, those were all the same person.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was all the same
Your head
person.
just blew. I just watched the top of your hair just go poof.
I did. Oh, that's amazing. Holy hell. Talent, people. My God. Bring it back.
Majel, even briefly in Star Trek 2009, Loxana is in there. Or Loxana. I'm only because I'm looking at it on screen. But Majel is the first computer voice that we hear.
Oh. On the Kelvin?
No, on the Enterprise.
Okay.
On Enterprise. Mm-hmm. And we never hear it again. We only hear it once, and it's brief.
Well,
but yeah.
Like I said, I think last week.
Isn't that when Chekhov's trying to put in coordinates?
Well, not
he said
Sulu.
Victor instead of Victor.
Victor.
Yeah, Sulu. Yeah.
I think you're right. I think it is Chekhov. Yeah, you're right, Jesse.
Yeah, and they're just like, nope. It's just like password and or no, whatever.
Victor 2. He killed me. Anton nailed that role. But we're not talking about Anton. We're talking about girls. So.
Yeah, but we were talking about the computer, so we still are on topic.
We're still talking. Yep.
What other females do we want to discuss?
Well, I don't know anything about her.
Earlier, we were talking about Whoopi Goldberg and
Guinan.
Oh, we haven't talked about her enough, have we?
Mm-hmm.
She was kick ass. I mean, she made you tremble. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, she can shake a cue.
Yeah. Now, that would have been a good story arc to see how her species knew about the Borg. That was like a little blurb they talk about, but they don't really give us a backstory on how her species ran in with Q and the Borg and everything.
Yeah.
So that would have been a good backstory.
That would have been a great backstory. Time's Arrow, which is kind of a weak sort of episode, a little joggly. I enjoyed it because I love Mark Twain. But even to see her on Earth in San Francisco back in the 1800s doing her job, doing what she was sent out into the universe to do. And yeah, I would have loved to have seen what the Borg did to her planet.
Yeah.
Just like a brief, it could have been a 30-second clip of, just showing what happened, a little bit,
not
maybe
too detailed, but just enough to give a little glimpse.
You could have had the Borg coming in and then just screams. That's all you had to have because it was, and she just the look on her face could have nailed it because she is a good actress. So,
a guy stabbed Q with a fork. That was freaking hilarious.
Yeah. Because you just think of her as like the bartender. You can kind of tell something else is going on, but you're just kind of
Yeah.
like, I mean,
Like, off the
aliens
record,
and
I think of
Hmm?
Guinan as the off-the-record bartender counselor.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
people would go to
Oh,
the
yeah.
bar to relax, and she'd know what's wrong or what's on your mind, or
Perfect
so.
Yeah, what
bartender.
can I get
Yeah.
you today? What's the deal? What's happening?
Yeah.
And then, if I'm remembering correctly, even if sometimes they would order something, she'd give them something else. Like, that's not what you need.
Right.
Yeah, that's not what you're looking for.
Yeah, in some cases, I think she was more effective than even Diana. Diana was.
Exactly.
Getting
was
to
in
the
that.
bottom of people's
Yes.
problems. Yeah.
She was
Mhm.
off-the-record counselor. You can tell me anything. I'm not going to let anybody know. But
Yeah,
then
this doesn't
at the end
affect
of
your
Troy,
position in command.
right.
Mhm.
Then with the end of Troy, if you go see her, that's official record. That's where I have to let
Mhm.
people know if you're crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And that was a huge, that is a huge difference. Is people, what they say off and on the record, there is a big difference in that.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if, like, they're unsure. You don't want to go to someone who's going to put an unsure question or, oh, I'm kind of feeling like this, but I don't know if I should. Like, what's your
Yeah.
opinion? And I don't want to write that shit down, and
Yeah.
have that, like, forever. It's
Yeah.
just.
She introduced Worf to prune juice. That was epic. That little scene. Just try it. I can't believe your parents never gave you prune juice. It's a warrior's drink. I'm like, oh my gosh. Nailed it. And she could even get to a Klingon
Mhm.
and get him to like something. It's like, wow. That's a powerful female character. Hey,
I
V-Star.
Hello.
I'd have liked to have seen a little bit more background from her in Generations as well, because she obviously had that connection with was it Soren? Was that his name? Yeah,
Totally and Soren. Yeah.
So I would have liked that.
Yeah. Since they're both Elorians.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, we see some more background with Enterprise B. So it's like, wow, okay, so she's been around these people for a long time. Now, Generations is not my favorite film, but I would have loved to have seen how, again, I think that would feed back on how she dealt with her planet being destroyed by the Borg versus how he dealt with having the planet destroyed by the Borg.
Yeah.
And it's the typical trope, you killed my family. Kind of like Nero.
Revenge. Yeah.
The ribbon. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The revenge
The ribbon.
story, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I would have liked to have seen more of that, but I would have liked to have seen more interaction between her and Soren.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I like nothing at all.
I really do wish. She was interesting, and to kind of learn that. Yeah, no. So me having not finished TNG, I'm not going to get the answers. It's kind of disappointing. But
there's some.
It's almost
But
to
I
her
think
character. It
Yeah.
would be better in her. It's almost like they wrote it, but
Yeah.
they didn't film it because some characters are better with more mystique around them.
Yeah, I think that's what they decided to do. And there was a writer strike close to the end of season 2 of TNG, where, we got that clip episode, Shades of Grey, which was like, oh my God, really? Fine. But they couldn't do anything about it. So that probably was a character that was shelved in favor of the strike. And to keep, like you said, Eris, more of that mystique around that character, because they never even expanded on Guinan's relationship with Captain Picard any more that it's beyond family, beyond friendship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I thought that was an interesting way to go with that character. Because Guinan's incredible.
Yeah, and talking about it, and there are characters with less is more. Would she be as interesting if we knew exactly what happened? I would actually argue no, she would not be, because we would just be discussing what happened rather than open up the possibilities of what could have happened. And so, unlike with Beverly Crusher, with her being kicked off or fired, whatever, her coming back made her stronger, whereas exposing who Guinan really was and all of that stuff leaves a lot of the interest behind her character to interpretation rather than that the human imagination. I think what we come up with would have been far more interesting than what they would have come up with.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you got to balance as a writer, using the audience's imagination versus actually telling them what happened, and which one would create a stronger character, a more interesting plot line, or just in general, an interesting thing in general, whether or not they would appreciate it more. And maybe it was the writer's strike, but I think overall that was a smarter move.
Yeah, I have to agree.
Briefly touch on a few with the DS9 female characters, like Kira or Jadzia.
Oh, Kira and Jadzia, yeah. No, this is where I have limited experience because I haven't seen the full of DS9. I know bits and pieces from what y'all have talked about.
So DS9, Jadzia. Let me pull that up here.
And can we make this a part 1? Because we're clearly not going to get everything done.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to squeeze everything in, guys.
Do that. This is a part 1. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Part 1.
And a part 2.
And then then that gives you guys a chance to look up.
I can do research.
I'll tell my husband the link that he had put out there, or I'll put it on the Twitter.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a good idea, a part 1. Now we do a part 2. That's a good idea.
Yeah, actually, I was... while you guys were actually talking before you mentioned the part 1 thing, I was like, okay, we're going to end this in about 10 minutes. And,
that's what I just read.
We just saw it.
Yeah, I was actually going to say to you ladies, I was actually going to throw it out there. Did you guys want to do another time and talk Women of Star Trek again? Because DS9, we have plenty. I can talk about, some of the great things about Jadzia Dax, Kira.
Yeah.
The woman who plays on Orville now, can't forget her, Cassidy Yates, the one who played Cassidy Yates, who's now on the Orville.
Awesome. We can expand to the
Penny Johnson-Gerald. Yeah, I'm like, wait, the doctor. Okay. See, that's where I don't have the experience.
Love her.
I do too. She was on Castle for a while too.
You watch Orville?
Yeah.
I'm almost done with season 2. I've been stuck in. I have 3 episodes left of season 2. But yeah, I've watched Orville. So
we're gonna have to carry that over too, guys. That
may
be
is
a part
Star Trek.
3.
That is Star Trek.
Oh yeah. Well, I tell you what, we'll go ahead and call it now. Everybody kind of plug whatever you got going on the next couple weeks, and then of course we will get together. I think that if we're going to do this again, I think a good Saturday around the same time seems to be great. Okay. I think we had a great amount of people show up, so we'll just coordinate it. But I want to thank everyone in the chat who came in. I want to thank Darth Haster, V-Star33, Yosef, Mark the Infinitely Tired, the Boss Man himself, Stone Loki was here, Psycho Dwarf 9. Trying to make sure I don't forget anybody. Darth Haster, he's always fun to have a talk
he's always
with.
Here. Jitsi Lemons.
He's
Eldritch.
And if I'm missing your name, Jetsam Lemons. Yeah. How you doing? Yeah. It's great to have you all here. I think I caught Just Other Nerd showed up. That was great to have him here too.
Yep.
Just trying to make sure Derek McManus.
Yeah, he popped in for a bit.
LDG Pixels stopped in. That's great. It was a nice group of people coming in. I think you ladies had an awesome panel.
Thank you.
Think y'all
it's
really
great to be here, guys.
A lot of good. And I definitely look forward to us all doing this again. For my channel, for MB Gates Let's Talk, next week we haven't decided what we're going to do for Monday. We'll put that out on 10 Forward. And obviously we're going to do this one again, definitely in the future when we can get everyone together. Madam Geek, please talk about this is probably not necessarily in any of y'all's wheelhouse, but it might be. She has her own YouTube channel and does something a little different from the rest of us.
Oh, awesome.
So my YouTube channel is called The Stitch Cafe, and it's more artsy craftsy. I also want to say thanks for everybody who's in the chat. This really was a good panel and a good discussion, so I look forward to us doing the part 2.
Me too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. It's like there's no way we could cut. There's so much.
There's so
and
much.
we found more out while we were searching. We had our base level, and then we were just like, I got my mind blown, which was really awesome. But this will give me some time to maybe pick TNG back up and do a little bit more digging. So
yeah.
But yeah.
All right. So, Purple Valkyrie, Samantha Jo, what do you guys got planned for Rise of the Valkyries and any other channels you're going to be a part of?
Well, let's see. In about 2 hours, we will be joining Heiress of Chaos on her afternoon show.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be talking horror films, not just the new stuff. We'll be talking the Netflix stuff. We'll be talking vintage horror stuff.
Good, the good, the bad, and the wow.
And what
That may be a
going
part
on?
1 and part 2 also.
It may end up being that.
Oh no, I already labeled it part 1 because I'm just expecting to not cover it because I've seen so many, and I know those two have seen them too. So it's at 2 p.m. CST.
Yeah, I'm gonna rename I'm going to rename this one part 1.
Excellent.
Yeah,
I'm definitely going to name this one part 1. Well, that's awesome. Okay, Purple Valkyrie, Samantha Jo, what else you guys got going on?
Well, of course, Mondays.
I say them together because I know they do a lot of duo stuff together.
We do. Monday,
they have a channel together.
We'll be in the chat with Loki at Loki's Mornings of Mischief, and Monday at 10 Central Time, we rise and shine and have things going on. This week, we will have Positive Candor joining us on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
What else do we have going on next week, honey?
Well, we did the show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Same time, 10 Central. We're just getting more guests on at the moment, aren't we? We're opening the floor to
We're going to have on Madam Geek.
Absolutely.
I want to talk about sewing. I'm a costume maker, so girl.
I don't think you'll get an argument out of her on that one. You will not get an argument out of her on that one.
Wonderful. That might be a 5-part series.
Yeah, I'd love to have a cosplay.
Hey, I'm going to say this. My wife, she took me to my very first quilt show back when we lived in California. We either were still dating, engaged, or just married. I don't remember exactly where we were at because our dating to marriage was 6 months long. So it wasn't a very long courtship. So I don't remember exactly, but she wanted to go to this quilt show. And I grew up as someone who watched my granny quilt for a living. So watching my wife crochet was a very, wonderful experience to get to watch again. And then going to these quilt shows and getting to see all this beautiful quilt, Afghan type artwork and stuff. It was really fun to see. So unfortunately we haven't been able to go to one really since then, but if we ever get a chance, definitely going to go. And talk with Madam Geek about sewing. Trust me, you guys can definitely do. Heiress of Chaos, what do you got going on? I know you said you got your stream in a couple hours. I am definitely going to try to make the chat for that one because that just sounds like way too much fun.
I've seen a lot of that. So like they're covering like really good ones. I've seen a lot of bad ones, like willfully, because I love really really awful horror movies. I love cheering for the evil entity. I think that's really fun. When I hate everyone else on the screen. So sometimes it's just fun to do that. And so I that would be my part to play on this one.
Okay.
And so Wednesdays and Saturdays. This past week, I was on Fandom Collective, so I didn't have a stream. But Wednesday we should be back to normal, 6 p.m. For about an hour, covering something of recently that's happened in pop culture. And then Saturdays at 2 p.m. are my longer streams, usually with guests. So
awesome.
Well, we got some good news for our channel here. If we can get 4 more subscribers, we'll get to 200. And
all that.
Yeah, almost there. And Ambassador and I have already talked about it. Once we actually get.
Hold on. You're at 197 now.
Congratulations! Oh yeah, look at that! Awesome.
Well, we have decided we decided that if we get to 200, probably the following weekend, maybe a Friday night or something, the ambassador and I and several other people, we don't really have a full group together, but we're going to do a full watch party of Wrath of Khan.
Oh,
Ooh. Nice.
And I've got a Blu-ray. I've got an unopened Blu-ray of the Wrath of Khan that I have not gotten to watch.
Me too. Me too.
I'm just
man.
waiting to pop it in.
Mhm.
awesome. Well,
So
no longer need a
that's
reason.
awesome.
That'll be amazing.
Yeah, definitely. So
Yeah.
and we will definitely get it coordinated. Other people are going to be welcome. I mean, shoot, we can have up to 10 people on it. We'll coordinate it. It'll be maybe a week or two after the 200, but we'll definitely get there. And again, ladies, thank you so much for coming on this panel. It was awesome. I am glad you all had fun, and I look forward to having you all back for a part 2. To everyone in the chat, thank you for coming. To all my lovely panelists, you ladies are, as always, awesome as ever. Thank you all. Peace and long life.
Y'all
Thank
have
you
a
for
great
having
day.
Yeah.
You too. Have
Live
fun.
long and prosper.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Bye.